I had a problem. My kids were consistently irritable and wild in the late morning, and we homeschool. They also seemed to have trouble focusing during our school time, and it seemed that I was forever answering the question, what can I have for a snack? Now, mind you, I have 5 kids, and if each of them asked me this question 3 times, that was 15 times I was having to answer that question or one related to it. And the kids were not the only ones irritable. The other thing I noticed was that they were constantly hungry, and it seemed we never got to starting our school day. That's when it hit me. They really were hungry because they had too many options and were left to their own devices for breakfast. They were eating good quality food, but just not the right quantity or type. They needed me to remove the decision fatigue and make them breakfast with some protein in it. So now most days, because let's be honest, none of us is 100% of the time anything, I try to make a nutritionally rich breakfast that has some bit of protein. Enter fresh milled grains. These are heavy lifters. They are nutritionally dense, packed with vitamins and minerals, and as a more complex carbohydrate, you feel fuller longer. No more irritable kids, or mom for that matter. We still do a light snack around 10 a.m., usually fruit, but it's just a little something to round the final stretch before lunch. Having the structure and order of mom-made breakfast and a set snack time removed about 90% of the question asking, irritability, and inability to focus. All of these breakfasts are made dairy-free due to our family's sensitivities, but you can easily sub back to dairy products. This breakfast is great because it comes together so quick, in 15 to 20 minutes, and breakfast is on the table. Also, by just adding a little bit of collagen peptides, the protein level increases and you get the benefit of fresh milled grains and the protein to be found in collagen peptides or another protein powder. My kids used to love this stuff when I would buy it, but since we've gotten more and more concerned with GMO products and putting more effort into at-home cooking, we needed an alternative because oatmeal just wasn't going to cut it for them. I have a Mockmill Lino200, and for this breakfast, I coarse grind the wheat at 7. But really, you can push it to your textural preference. And I cook it on the stovetop with a 50-50 mix of almond milk and water. Cream of wheat is flexible and gives my kids the ability to top it with what they would like based on what I put out for them. Some of my kids like berries and maple syrup or honey, and yet some others would prefer raisins or apples and cinnamon. All of the recipes I'm sharing today are not hard. Some of them require more time than others, specifically sourdough time, but all of them are very simple recipes that can be mixed up rather quickly. I love this base recipe because it is the same recipe that I can just add a variety of things to, based on what I have on hand. Scones. These are forever my kids' request. I used to think, I don't have time to make breakfast. And while it felt like that, I really started to consider the amount of time I was wasting chasing kids who were acting crazy, getting them refocused on what needed to be refocused, answering all their questions about what to eat next, and scouring the kitchen for something to eat. And then I realized, that is so much time. I should put that time forward instead of spreading it out all throughout the morning and getting more and more frustrated as the day went on. Really, you make time for the things that are important to you. And it was important to me to make sure that our mornings and school time went really smoothly. And so me putting the effort in the morning or even the night before, if I choose a sourdough option, makes our days start off on a better foot. I have made these scones cranberry orange or peach, or even before our non-dairy days, bacon cheddar. But these ones I made with frozen blueberries. At first, when I first started doing mom-made breakfast in the morning, my kids protested not getting to choose. But I simply looked at them with a smile and said, nope, this is what's for breakfast this morning, and kept on making what I was doing. And after a few mornings of that, they've come to ask me now, Mom, what's for breakfast this morning? Because they come to expect that I'm just going to make breakfast and that's what they have to eat. This is a fun breakfast because you can change the shapes based on what cutter you use to cut them out. So if you wanted to have a Valentine's Day scone, you could cut it out with a heart. If you wanted to have a Christmas scone, you could cut it out with a snowman or a star, or just do triangles. It can be savory or sweet. You can do bacon and cheddar, or you can do, like I'm doing, blueberries. It can be fancy and you can set out a little tea party with your kids, or it can be basic and just ready to go for the day. Breakfast meatballs. This is a recurring breakfast for us. It's so easy and breakfast could be on the table in 30 minutes start to finish. I love this breakfast because it requires no extra thought towards protein. It's built right into the recipe. I can mix it up the night before and have it ready to go in the morning, so it's less to think about in the morning. I can also freeze the balls unbaked and then pull them out of the freezer when I need a breakfast option quickly. If you're wanting to start making breakfast in the morning for your kids, but time is a barrier for you, just focus on getting really good at a few recipes that either can be mixed up the night before and are ready to just go in the oven or onto the stovetop in the mornings, or something that's really easy to whip up in the mornings and doesn't require a lot of hands-on time from you. Get really good at those things first, and then over time you can start adding some of the more complex or more time-consuming recipes out there. Biscuits and gravy. This classic can be made for breakfast or even for breakfast for dinner. These biscuits are made with fresh milled hard white, but I think soft white would produce a slightly softer texture. I was out of soft white, so hard white wheat berries it was. I cut in ghee to get the butter flavor, but we were low on that, so I had to supplement with a coconut oil cashew milk butter alternative. Because biscuits are best made with buttermilk, and these needed to be dairy-free, I mixed up a bit of plain coconut yogurt with almond milk to get a buttermilk-like consistency and the tang that buttermilk offers. I added fresh milled flour to the sausage for this gravy, and I used almond milk in place of regular milk. And much to my husband's delight, he was able to eat biscuits and gravy again. The other thing to consider when thinking about making a mom-made breakfast in the mornings is, what season of life are you in? Do you have really tiny babies in the home who are waking up more than once in the night? When my babies were little and waking up more than once, I definitely didn't get up and make breakfast for everybody. We took it slow and had a slower morning. And because my kids weren't so far ahead in school yet, there wasn't a pressure to get started earlier in the morning for school. So we could take a slower morning. And even if I did make breakfast for everyone, for the toddler and the baby and myself, it was just slower. So embrace the season you're in. If you have questions, go ahead and ask me. I'm happy to answer those questions for you. I usually like to bulk up my biscuit baking for another breakfast and make it into a breakfast sandwich, or topped with honey and jam for a snack, or served alongside a bowl of hot soup. Lastly, sourdough blueberry rolls made with fresh milled flour for the win. This breakfast does take a little forethought because of the sourdough, but the rewards are worth it. I mixed up a batch of fresh milled sourdough cinnamon roll dough the night before, leaving out the baking soda, and I let it ferment in the bowl of the mixer over the night. That night that I was mixing up the dough, I also threw some blueberries in a pan with agave syrup for the filling. I like using agave syrup because it has a low glycemic index, but it still adds a bit of sweetness, and it pairs really well with fruit. All of the recipes that I'm making today you can find on my blog at thisorthatbaking.com. The link is going to be below in the description. The next morning, I knead in the baking soda and roll out the dough. I like that it's made with sourdough for the gut health benefits, but then you also get all the nutrition from the fresh milled grains, and there's not a huge blood sugar spike for the kids in the morning. This breakfast is great because it's a special breakfast. It's not something I would make every week in our home, but occasionally it's fun to do something special for the kids. It's a blueberry roll. These rolls came out puffed and baked to perfection. I topped them with leftover mixed berry sauce from the scones and a little glaze made of powdered sugar and almond milk. This makes a great treat without the large quantities of sugar a typical cinnamon roll has. We serve these with bacon or sausage as well. Really, the most difficult part of these rolls is remembering to mix them up the night before. and they are worth that extra thought.